Potential agenda, talk about some updates and what is Classroom. I thought a good way to show what Classroom can do is to talk about how I use it and why I like it or love it. We'll navigate the site a little bit, talk about some common student issues, and give you some resources to go to. So the first one, updates. We know that Google likes to update and not tell us until you go in and things are changed and it freaks you out. So know that Google Classroom does that too. These are links to people's blog posts. If you're super into it, maybe you follow some ed tech person and you read their latest blog on all the updates, but I don't do that. I find out when I can't find what I'm looking for and I'm clicking around, that's when I know there's an update. The Google support page also has this What's New in Classroom link, so that's another place to go. And we forget that Google has directions on how to use all their stuff. And so they have really good text descriptions step by step. They're not going to miss any of the steps if you get directions from somebody else. So I'll always say that's a good thing. I don't keep up with the updates. There's stuff that's been updated that I don't know how to do yet. It's just always evolving. So what is Google Classroom? If you would have asked me Tuesday, I would have said it's a learning management system. But I always do a little research for these presentations, and turns out it's not a learning management system, nor is it a class management system, and as well as some other acronym that I had never heard of before. But we'll just say it's kind of like that. If you use Blackboard in college, that's a real familiar one in college, then it does some of the same things, but it does some things differently. Google, you have to have a Google School account to use Google. And so some folks that don't have that Google School email, that's why they aren't using it, and they're using some of these other things. I know that the DESE email doesn't work with Google, so they run an Edmodo for some science teachers to connect. So anyone's email could work with some of these other things. Okay, so what do I use it for? What do I post? The number one thing I post is assignments for students to complete in a Google Doc or a Google Slide. Blanks for them to type in their answers. And now that we're not meeting with students in school, this is definitely like our main source of having students complete any type of worksheet or make something for us. Okay. Digital copies of things handed out in class. Say I handed out a hard copy of a worksheet, and I'm going to put an extra in case the kid loses theirs or needs a new one, and they can access that outside of the classroom. I'll post links to things, review materials, games, you know, the Quizlets and the Kahoot and all that stuff gets linked up. Link to online textbooks or PDF readings. Just be cognizant of copyright and where you're putting PDFs that aren't legal. Videos, either YouTube videos or videos that I show you from my Drive. Pros and cons to doing each one of those. Reminders is actually what I use the least, because I want students to be able to find those handouts and find the assignments. So I don't want to clog it up with reminders like your test is Friday and those types of things. Questions about how I use Classroom. Okay, why I love Classroom. I'll let you read this. So before Classroom let you make a copy for every student, students would have to share files with you, and it would clog up your email because you'd get 25 per class or however many sharing documents with you. And then where do those go? Into a pile in your shared folder, and it's a hot mess. No more. With one click, I can tell it to make a copy for each student, and I can see those files before they turn them in. So I can give them comments, give them some feedback before it's done. So that's wonderful. There'll be times where students are working in the computer lab, and I'd rather sit at a computer and pull up all their docs and give feedback than walk around and glance but not really look at what they're working on. And then a nice thing also, if you, their name goes on it automatically. Before, when they were just sharing documents with you, there was a chance that you had to know what their email address was because you didn't know. And now with Google Classroom, when it sends those files out to students, it automatically puts their name on all the files. So a thought might be, well, what if I'm not using a doc or a slide? I would still make a copy for each student, and they can attach a video that they created onto that document. Would be another way to organize things. Anybody else, reasons why you love Google Classroom, want to share? All right. Oh, you may have seen this meme recently. Which may be what it feels like for parents when we say just log into their R6 Google account. I have refrained from saying that phrase, just log in, because easier said than done at times. And so at this point, I'm going to assume that you're familiar with how to get students to log into Google. Okay. Once they have logged in to Google, they are going to need to access that waffle to hit Classroom. Or they could have typed in Google Classroom and searched for it the long way, which may be more likely. So, waffle Classroom. Once we're in Classroom, students will see a page like this white one. And the student is enrolled in Quest for Success and Math Grade 5. Okay. I heard there was an update that now it will say, click to view assignments. The number one discussion with teachers who use Google Classroom is the fact that students still can't find their assignments on Classroom. And so now there's a link directly here. I haven't seen it because the only class I'm enrolled in as a student is the high school faculty one, and we don't have any due assignments right now. So I'll find out later on if that update is real. So students ready to click on a class, they can just click on that banner to access the class. And then there are a lot of different things. I didn't realize how many different things until I saw all of them numbered of what you can actually look at. So the first thing, the pancakes are the menu of classes. Say a student went to look at a class, but they need to get back out to go to a different class. An easy way to do that is through the pancakes. And what class are they in? It's going to say it here, as well as whatever the teacher wrote here. It's going to show up in both places. So Google calls it the stream, which is kind of nice because we're used to the phrase stream with social media. And that's where they get to see anything that has been posted. Well, depending on how the teacher sets it up. I have only classwork going into classwork, but it also shows up in the stream too. So what's the stream? For me, announcements and classwork. Some teachers can separate it out where announcements just go in the stream and just classwork goes in the stream. So again, that could be part of the I don't know where to find my assignments issue with students. Number 4, classwork. So this is just assignments can be found there. People, as a teacher, this is going to show me all the students in the class. I don't know why students need to care who's enrolled in their Google Classroom. Number 6, the waffle button up at the top. So let's say they're looking at a class and they want to go to their Gmail. They can do that through the waffle. They know who they are through that little button at the top right for account. Oh, I stole this slide and the previous slide, the next one. And the individual that I stole it from calls number 8 upcoming assignments. But as a teacher, I'm thinking upcoming assignments are things that I want to post to the classroom. That's not what this is. These are things that are due soon for the kid. Only applicable if the teacher put a due date on it. If there's not a due date on here, then nothing's going to show up. And then number 9 is where all the announcements go. Teachers can control what students can do. They can control if students can make posts. They can control if students can make comments. That's another thing. All right, now, let's say a student clicked on an assignment. Let me back up here for a second. So with me, if this continued on down, they would see enrichment week 7 and then the title. If they clicked on that assignment, they're going to see something similar to this. Number 1, classwork tab. Okay, so this is where assignments go, and depending on the teacher's parameters, maybe it's the only place that assignments go. Number 2, you can view previous work and potentially see grades. I don't really always score stuff in Classroom because I've got to put it in PowerSchool anyway. So it depends on if the teacher is actually plugging in a score in Classroom. Number 3, you can see due dates on Google Calendar if the teacher assigned a due date to the assignment. I don't think any student realizes that you can go to class drive folder with this. Sometimes it's hard as a teacher to remember that this folder exists as well. Whoever made this example had topics. One of their topics was benchmark test. Another topic is daily lesson files. It's like a tag. This star math thing got tagged under benchmark tests. This, for the week of September 2nd, got tagged as daily lesson files. You don't have to tag things with topics. I don't, because then I have to remember to give all the things a topic. But it could be an organization thing. It could be helpful. So maybe then the kid knows to click over here to go to back to school things or go to their benchmark tests. Okay. Well, let's look. Let's see. Stovering says she likes topics for review and redoing. So kids just look at the items on that topic. Yeah, definitely pros to it. I can't keep up with making sure I do it for everything, you know. But I'm also the person who brings the dish to the counter and not the sink. So, you know. Daily lesson files. So this for the week of September 2nd through 6th. This clipboard tells me that it's an assignment. Well, who knew that? Oh, geez. The teacher has posted 4 different things. They're all PDFs. They typed up some words for some directions. Yes, it has been assigned, and I can see the due date. So we talked about topics available, topic headings. We talked about assignment and due date. Good. Assignment status, if it's assigned, not assigned, past due, late, things that are attached here, and then a student can click here to view the assignment, or they can click on the title to view the assignment. Because this isn't like the full assignment. It's just a post of a summary of the assignment. Clear as mud. Okay. That is just what the buttons do. How to actually run them is a whole different story. The first 2 things are some cheat sheets. In fact, the first cheat sheet are these bubbles that we're looking at. I think that could be helpful if you work with students but not very often. You keep one of these in your folder, print it out so you know, tell them point here, click on that. The last 2 are all of the details for a teacher that wants to post assignments to Classroom. So these are like 40 and 50 pages long because there are a lot of things that you can do within Google Classroom. And that's also why they're the last things, because maybe you get fatigued of clicking on links and you're done by the first one. All right. Issues. Teacher view does not equal student view. This took me a minute to realize this. Students must click on or open the assignment to view files that are make a copy for each student. So I'm going to go back. There are 4 PDFs attached here. Cool, it's just a PDF. But if one of these was a Google Doc that I said to make a copy for every student, the kids can't see it until they click on the assignment. So annoying. So they don't know it's there because they're not going to click on it because they think that those are the only 3 links. And sometimes that's the only thing you've attached. So I have to write in here, click on the assignment to open it. There is more attached. So if you're working with students and they think they don't have any assignment, they don't have any homework, make sure they click and open the assignment to see if there really is something attached. Access to view file given to a school account. Kid pulls it up on their phone. Phone defaults back to their personal account and the kid doesn't have access to it. Okay, so what's the fix here? If they had a PC, it would be easier. If they logged into their school account with their browser, but you know what? We can control what we can control. And so what I can do is change the file settings to public before I share anything. So then it doesn't matter if it default hooked them up to their personal account. Students can view a doc instead of getting their own copy. So the beauty of make a copy for every student, that wonderful thing, is not the default in Google Classroom. The teacher has to click a button to make it happen. And it's easy to forget to click that button. I think we've all done it at least once. And you can't just go back and edit it. You have to delete the post and then repost the whole thing. Or the kid makes a copy. So if they can tell me fast enough and I can get in there and delete it and repost it, no harm done. But it's a common issue. Another one, they can't remember their password. So all grade levels, this is reality. And maybe if you know you've got that one kid who never knows his password, you have to be the holder of that password. The students can't find the assignment. If they look slowly and methodically, maybe that would help. So that's what I would guide students to do. I would have them actually click on the assignment to open them slow, one by one. Other things is you can add an emoji to the front of an assignment. And so I've seen some teachers where they use a alarm clock emoji. And before the F and 4 is the alarm clock emoji. And then, okay, alarm clock means assignment due. I mean, the real problem is we can't find what we're looking for. But some teacher fixes are add an emoji. You can also bold and change the text font, which is a new thing that I figured out recently. So those are some potential solutions for some of the most common issues that we see in classroom. Okay, so let's discuss anything else. Link to this presentation, bit.ly/cbrown classroom, and then a link. Really all you need is this last link. It was incorrect initially. So this last link, I'll go ahead and show you what that'll take you to. A spreadsheet where you can find links to all the other presentations and links to the video recordings. What was that link again that you wanted to know? Good question. Here it is. Okay. What other things do you Google Classroom users think people should know about Google Classroom? Unmute yourself. Take it away.
Marissa, it's Katie. I have a question.
Shoot.
Maybe you can help me with this, but when you were going through the troubleshooting of some of the issues, so if I post an assignment to all of my classrooms and then I realize I made a mistake and I edit it, it doesn't edit it for all of them, right? I have to go
Correct.
edit it for each. See, that is annoying.
What I say is at the bottom left, they've got that question mark in Google. They do take teacher feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe enough of us tell them it's annoying. Enough of us tell them put the default as make a copy for each student.
Yes.
Then they will change that.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing it.
No, you're correct. Okay, so there's that link in the chat box. Bit.ly Friday 4 recap. Okay. Other issues we're having? Susan, yeah, go for it.
Okay, I walk with Stacy, many of you might know, and she said you guys use this, and I heard you say something about your faculty uses it. So is this used like with professional learning communities? I mean, do you guys send something out? I guess we use Google Drive all the time, or like email, and so I'm just curious as to how, like, what does that mean when you say we have an assignment or I'm going to see something?
The short answer is something that's due to admin to get turned in will have documents that are needed and due dates posted.
And then they'll see that on their email. They'll know, I mean, it shoots an email, they know to go do it.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, there's always the issue of did I or did I not get the announcement from Classroom? And so I would say don't trust getting an announcement. Say something was posted in Classroom and give us that heads up.
Okay, and then kind of gives your heads up. And, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm trying to pull that up. It's a little slower when you're zooming, but we'll get there.
Now, Clarissa, this is Holly. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. One of the things, talking about Classroom, when we post stuff, one of the things that we try to do is set it up so that, like, on Monday, it will send you guys a reminder that this is going to be posted and then it's going to be due. But it's kind of one of those things too, like I feel like everybody is getting it, but I don't know, you know? So that's probably a good thing for me to check next year, that after those first announcements go out, to check and see if everybody's getting it. So it's a good reminder.
I don't trust it. I don't know. I haven't. Yeah. I could sit down and figure out why it's happening and not, but.
Well, you know that Classroom works with your Google Calendar. But
right.
When it goes to calendar, it only tells you when it's due. It doesn't tell you when it's announced. So for my students, I have to go into Google Calendar then, and then I just set it, like it gets to play with the settings so that it's the day that you announce it, and then it repeats every day until the day it's due.
Okay.
And so then, like, my students, they get a reminder now. They'll tell me, I didn't see it. Of course they didn't see it, because, you know, but I know that Google Calendar is sending them that announcement every day.
Nice.
I have another question, Clarissa, real quick.
Go for it.
So if you clicked right now on one of these Holly Jennings postings, like the one with the click, can I just see what that looks like?
Absolutely.
It's just.
So we didn't know these things were attached, right?
Right, yeah, that's what I mean. So this is, okay.
Let me go.
Okay. And then if you click back, okay, so when it says classwork at the top, is that I mean, do you have to have that? Oh, go ahead.
I know why we couldn't see these. I changed my parameters to show those links, and even though I told it to show all the attachments, it still won't show the ones that are make a copy for all students. So hypothetically, Dr. Jennings could go in and tell it to show all attachments, and then students would be able to see these because she just made these view only.
Okay.
And then your second question?
If you go to classwork now, does that look different than what you're?
It looks
so okay. This is your faculty handbook, and okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
The clipboard means assignment. Question mark means they just asked us a question. I'm going to go back to stream, and we may see something that is neither a clipboard or a question mark if it is just an announcement. And this would be an example of that. And so what doesn't show up in classwork if they're just announcements, regardless of how the teacher set it up? That's a mouthful. That was a lot of info.
Well, and if you're using it in your classroom, it will import, like if you use a Google form for a quiz, it'll import the grade into Google Classroom for you. So I like that. I don't have to go to 2 different places. And what else?
I'll go back to a student when I use with students.
Oh, so our kids use all kinds of platforms, and some of the kids who just use a Chromebook, it looks different from kids who use a desktop. It looks different for kids who access it through their Xbox or PS4. It looks different for kids who get it on their phone. So the frustrating part for me was when they were all going, well, I can't see, where my assignments are. And I'm telling them where to go. Well, if they're on a phone, I'm just giving them useless information because that doesn't work. So at some point, I guess I'll play to try to see what it looks like on every platform. But, that's why I had to open the stream up again, because I was frustrated. But then I guess on their end, they were just as frustrated. So I said, okay, here you go.
So here's
you're good. Go ahead.
Here's an example of, it's an assignment just like Holly posted, but I told it to show the links. This one with the blue triangle means it's a doc, and I remember that I told it to make a copy for each student. Students won't see this one. They'll just see the PDFs. They have to click on it. Frustrating.
Yeah, and actually, Clarissa, I'm a little frustrated too, because what I'm seeing when I posted, I could see all those links. I didn't realize that when students are opening it, in the classroom, students, that they're not seeing it. So I'm going to have to definitely go back and fix that.
Yeah. If I remember, I'll send you something on how to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a quick, but you got to find the setting. That's the thing. And if they don't even tell you, turn in versus assigned. Because I know that all students can access this, I don't care if they actually hit the turn in button or not, because I can look at every single one of theirs. Some teachers are yes, turn it in, so ducks are in a row. I think it's probably a teacher preference there that you're going to get both ways. But depending on what the assignment is, turn in doesn't matter. When admin asks a question, have you called your parents? There's nothing to turn in. So it is important for them that we actually mark complete. Oh, and that's another thing. Depending on what you're doing with it, it could say turn in or mark complete. So that could be confusing on how you're giving students directions. If you're telling them hit the turn in button and there's really no turn in button, that can be frustrating.
Google Classroom now gives everybody a Google Meets link. So each classroom has its own Google Meets link. So like right now where we're all working from home, if a kid needs to get a hold of me, he hits the Google Meets link and it comes up on my computer so that we can have a conversation back and forth.
Wow.
So.
And
right
then
now,
if I wanted to start one from here, I could just click this button and all the kids enrolled would get a notification, ?
I don't know that they would get a notification or not. I haven't tried that.
Let's just invite them and see what happens.
Yeah.
What I clicked on and got out of very quickly was the people tab and list of students. If the parent opts in, you'll have parent emails on the right-hand side. And then parents can get a weekly abridged email telling them what the teachers posted in the stream.
I gotta say, as a parent, that thing never made any sense. And I'm a teacher who used Google Classroom. So helpful, not helpful, doesn't know.
Does it just truncate like a certain number of characters so that it really might not make sense depending on what it is?
I just remember getting one from John's class when he was in Brad Fish's freshman class, so it's been a few years. But it doesn't show like if the kid did it or not. And that was what frustrated me, is like, I just want to know if my kid did what he was supposed to do in Google Classroom this week. But, I guess that's what Paris was for.
I think it only gives a missing assignment report. Because I was putting in grades thinking that it sent the grade, And both parents and students who got the weekly report said it didn't even say anything. So I thought that I had turned everything in because I gave it a grade. So you just have to leave it as missing. So if you were getting a report with things on it, then that was a long time ago, so I'm not going to say that. But now, if a parent gets a report with items on it, those are the items that are missing.
Interesting. And maybe that's even a 0, not a no score, depending. Question.
Yeah.
The question came in, does Google Classroom have a red receipt? It does not. What I will do is open documents and see last opened, or even if you're looking at something in Drive where you can see last opened, and then I know, oh, nobody opened it. A kid or two never opened it, sure. I don't want to overwhelm people with what Classroom can do. So I could talk with a lot more details about what it can do, but this is a good dip in the water. If you have any questions about anything, shoot, and I'll go there. Okay. I don't know why I clicked on that. Cog at the top was settings. So this may be where you get to control what goes in the stream. Here it is, Holly. Classwork on the stream, show attachments and details, not the default. Hide notification. Why would you want to do that? Show condensed, and I guess the condensed is not attachments. But even if you show attachments, it doesn't give you all of them. Okay. I just clicked that generate meet link, and then it changed the toggle, and then I have the option to not let them see it. Interesting. See examples of Guardian summary. Okay. This is a lot of words. Okay, good. That's better. Missing work, do work. And however many classes they're on get tacked onto this email. Okay. Questions? Thoughts? Anybody else using it know something they like, something they don't like? How are you using it differently with your classes? Prail, are you asking me how I got here?
Yes.
All right, I'll go back and do it again. I was on any of these tabs and the cog for settings, and I scroll down to Guardian Summary. Oh, you can turn it off. And I clicked See Example, and a new tab opened that had information from Google Support, including a student summary.
And that can be forced out to all of the students?
Yes. So if you have that, I'm going to go back. If you have this toggle on, it goes out to parents. Yeah. If the parent has their email hooked up. Yeah. And once they do that, it's always in there. Students don't have to rejoin every year. It follows the kid.
Cool.
I haven't played around with the rubric feature in Classroom. Donna brought that to my attention. Another one of those updates that has gotten by me, but it sounds really cool. Okay, I don't want to waste your time. If we're done, we're done. I'll stick around if anybody has a question they want to ask one-on-one. And you can check out other things, and the presentation from today with all the links that are in it are going to be at the link.
Thank you, Clarissa.
My pleasure.
I may play around on it and then
well, kids like to say inappropriate things, and I feel like I need a little more control.
It doesn't happen that much depending on what class and what you're doing. I haven't had it only like 3 times, and it wasn't even anything bad. It was just something dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go and hit that settings cog.
Okay.
And stream. Students can post and comment. So I let them do both. Wow, that's a lot of freedom. But you can make it so that only teachers can post and comment.
Okay.
And so that'll nip that in the bud. If you wanted students to still be able to comment, you can also mute specific students.
Oh.
Let me show you. I'm going to stop